All right, welcome back to the SilmFilm Script Discussion Season 3, Episode 3, Part 4. It's been awesome. We are almost done with, we're about halfway through Act 1. Halfway through. Yeah. So we're halfway through a quarter of the episode.
But we've done a lot of managing of the structure of this. So.
Yes, we have. So, all right, things that they wanted to establish in the in Angband is establishing Sauron's relationship with the Proto-Orcs. Morgoth, concerned about the Valar coming after him, knows Feanor will. Worried about Tulkas and Orome, so puts Gothmog and the Balrogs on the northern front. Gives Sauron the charge of destroying the elves in the south. Okay. So...
yeah. So what we saw in Angband before was in Episode 1. So this has to kind of follow up on that material.
Right, right. So basically, we have to reestablish. We can see the orcs from far away. At this point, we don't like or
right glimpse of them.
Right, but
they're in their dungeons, locked away, and it's dark down there.
Right. Yes. But we're going to set up the campaign strategy.
Yes.
Going forward for Angband.
Right. That's what's new in this scene.
Yeah. So I feel like this is an opportune time for a Council of War scene with, like, you know, not maps, because like they wouldn't really have maps, but this is almost like a reflection of the, you know, the council scenes in Almarin, in a way.
Where there's that magic table.
Yes, the magic table we made up. Yep.
It was a cool table. I want that table.
Yes. Angband Council of War.
And
okay.
This allows, because we had in Episode 1 we sent Sauron away to start looking for Ungoliant.
Mm-hmm.
So if Sauron is back, he hasn't found Ungoliant or any news of Ungoliant yet. So he's reporting back in negative right now.
Yeah.
Which makes him look weak and useless.
Right.
So the whole idea of giving Gothmog the important role and giving Sauron the lesser role in direct response to, Sauron, you've been disappointing me. What good are you these days? Go play Beleriand. Is kind of like we're building that correctly, I think.
Yes, and I think that's good because it sets up the discovery of Shelob and the spiders later on as being a bigger deal too.
Because it's justifying that he did his job.
Right. Yeah. So Gothmog is being sent to the north. With I would imagine the lion's share of the orc armies. Because they're going to need orcs to kill.
Yeah, but that's not until they get there. I mean, that's a while. So
yeah, but we don't need to.
So he could say, "We'll send the majority with you," but they're not going to actually send them out yet.
Right.
Right. Okay. So just
right. Well, they like, because Feanor encounters orcs within like several days of his arrival.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No. That definitely. By the time the ships get there, Morgoth was ready. He saw those ships burn, and he sent his orc armies down. Like that was a direct response to the burning ships.
Right. But what I'm saying is that there's probably encampments in between Angband and the
yeah. Okay. Yes. Okay. That could work. Because they're looking out for Valinor's response.
Right. They don't. So he's going to tell Gothmog to establish a leaguer in
across the north.
Right, in the northwest to keep an eye out for Feanor for the Noldor, essentially,
and the Valar,
and the Valar if they decide to join them.
Yeah.
And then Sauron is essentially asking what he's going to be doing,
Mm-hmm.
what he's got for him to do, and Sauron can say that Melkor can intimate that they know that there are elvish settlements, growing elvish settlements living in peace and harmony and all kinds of horrible stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
To the south, kill them.
Right. Because Morgoth's angry and wants destruction at this point, and he would love to kill all the elves, and that's something that's news to Sauron, but Sauron obviously doesn't balk at that order, so he's okay with it.
Right.
Is there a reason he's okay with that?
Well,
or should he be like surprised first? Like
he should be surprised. I would say that he should be surprised, but he doesn't feel like he has the leverage.
Mm-hmm. Right. He's not in a position of power to even question that order.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, that's fair. Because we're not wanting him to fall too fast. And if the order is kill all the elves, and he's like, all right, let's go do this. It's like, wait a second.
Yeah.
Why would you be cool with that?
Yeah.
But if it's to prove himself, that's different. You know,
right.
He would have a reason. Okay.
Okay.
So we now have the bad guys set up with their game plan for the season.
Mm-hmm.
And their power dynamic pretty well established. That's a good thing.
Right.
And they've mentioned these settlements to the south. Yeah.
So maybe that's a good time for us to visit Cirdan.
Yeah.
Because if we don't establish that here, we're going to have forgotten about it.
There's no reason to go back to Cirdan. And the problem is the rest of like episode 4 and 5.
Mm-hmm.
Well, 4 isn't going to have Cirdan at all. So 5 might have something with Cirdan, like a little bit, but we need to introduce him back into the plot here.
Let me go to take a look at the intended outline as it currently stands.
We keep changing it.
Let's see what the most recent iteration of this is and where it puts the there's Richard's notes on the thing, but that's not really what we're looking for here. Okay. Macros. No, that can't be right. Episode 7, it looks like, is when Sauron is attacking the Havens with werewolves. So
at some point that's going to happen, definitely. And it sounded like the Havens are going to get attacked before the rest of Beleriand in a way, like before the massacre.
Well, that's the way it seems in the book as well.
Yeah. Well, if there's a reason it should go that way, but anyway. So that's okay. I think that makes sense to introduce Cirdan right away. Mm-hmm. Also, he's on the sea.
He should be, however, getting a message of some sort from Thingol.
Yes.
So
right. We introduce Cirdan and his Havens, and then there's a communication to Thingol to establish that Thingol's the king and the lord of Cirdan.
If Beleg is in the Havens, because that gives him an excuse to be traveling.
Yep, and we can introduce Beleg then back into the story.
Right.
Yeah. So let's Beleg and Cirdan having a conversation. Cirdan showing off ships or something, and Beleg is interested but confused because Beleg's not a guy who's going to actually know anything about ships.
Right.
Like one ship looks just like another ship to him, and he doesn't know what they're good for.
Right.
Really.
Yeah.
Really. So he's polite, but not all that into it. Cirdan, on the other hand, should be speaking fairly enthusiastically because this is his life's work.
Yeah. In the scene where Estelle is found by Eladan and Elver did they have a discussion there?
Yeah, because Eladan and Elver are like, "Oh, we found you. Let's go back to Rivendell."
Right. Yeah.
And
so that's when we established that they're accompanying him.
Right. Which is a good Act 1 thing to have happen, right?
I agree.
And we're in Act 2 now, right?
Yes, we're in Act 2. So if we have the Cirdan and Beleg scene, we probably should go back to. We probably should go back to the frame
before we get to Thingol.
Oh, you're right. So okay, you're right. So let's establish Thingol. Now I'm confused. Do we still have them living in Nanelmoth here?
They're wandering through the woods.
Court? Okay, so he is a wandering woodland court.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
That's exactly what's happening here. They move from place to place. It's very mobile, very lack of permanent settlements.
Okay.
And there can be elves who do have permanent settlements. Like, they're moving around. They could visit elves who have established themselves in various places. But there's no towns. There's no villages. There's no central gathering place for these elves. Yeah. They're just living in the woods.
So they're at an encampment somewhere. So here's the opportunity for us to establish, and we got to do it real quick. We got to establish our main characters that we recognize. So Thingol, Melian, Mablung. Celeborn has to be there. He doesn't have to say much because we know who he is. We spent all last season with him.
But he needs to be there, and he should say something in this episode.
Yes, I agree. But he doesn't need to.
But he doesn't
spend a lot of time with him.
Do anything. Yeah, yeah.
Right. You don't need to give him any agency of any kind.
Nope. He doesn't get any agency in this.
Dairon and Luthien.
Yes, so they're being introduced. We've never seen them before, so this is their entrance scene. Yeah. So I feel like they need to be performing their things that they're famous for, and therefore it needs to be a party scene because they're the entertainment, essentially, the party. So we could start with a feast with people talking if we needed to establish something else first, but then it should go to music and dancing and feature the two of them.
Okay. How do we get so we need to here's some of the issues. We need to mention all of these people's names in this scene.
Yep. So asking Luthien and Dairon to come out and perform is a thing that can happen.
Yes.
By name.
But we also need to establish that
Luthien is the daughter of Melian.
Right, the daughter of well, I mean, she could be sitting there with them, but that's not enough. You need to actually call it out.
Right. So I would think that you could do something where when they ask them to come out and dance and sing or whatever, when she gets up, she like kisses her mom on the cheek or something.
Yes.
And not like a yes dear, but like a some kind of some kind of mother-daughter thing where it's clear that they have a close relationship. So you don't actually have to say like, yes, my daughter. But
well, somebody could say something to Thingol about his daughter. Like that's the easy way to do that.
Yeah. Your daughter is the most amazing dancer I've ever seen is the kind of thing that someone could say to Thingol.
Yes.
And when she says back off. I mean, he's gonna be the most possessive dad ever, so and he's got a really beautiful daughter. So I assume that he's the kind of guy who would have made shotgun jokes ever since she was born.
Yes, yes.
If this was a world that had shotguns.
Yes, I foresee many purchases of shotguns in my own future if if we ever get around to it. So okay, so we establish all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Now we have to get back to the frame.
Yes.
Now this, it seems like the orc evidence finding scene.
Yes, because something needs to happen in the frame now. So this is when this would happen. So they find a trail or they see one. Do they see one of the scouts? No, they're gonna.
No, because
we can't see an orc yet in the frame.
Right.
So we just see evidence of them. And Eladan gets mad and says, let's go charging after them.
Right.
And Elrohir's like,
really excited about this.
Yeah. And Estelle's kind of like, cool, I'm up for this. Like, I can totally take them. And Elrohir's just like, oh my gosh, if I go out and get this kid killed, my dad's going to kill me. Or something along those lines. I mean, he probably doesn't express it like that.
Yeah.
But he could turn and say something to Estelle along the lines of, why are you so eager to rush into a dangerous situation when you've got a mother at home who's worried about you?
Right.
You know, so he might chastise him at least a little bit.
Yeah. Okay. All right, I'm trying to think of what else we need. They want to introduce Ale in this episode.
We pushed him back to the next episode, I think.
Okay. Well, they said that they were going to push his actual doing something.
Right. So
in episode 4.
So we don't really need to introduce him.
Okay.
Yet.
All right. Cool. Well, the issue is that we need something here before we, unless we do Beleg. Here's the problem. We can't have Beleg run into orcs yet.
No, that's the very end.
Yeah. So what else can we have in Act 2? Because weirdly, we're actually running out of stuff in this. I mean, we can have more scenes showing Thingol and his court and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, this could be a particularly long scene too. The one court scene.
Yeah.
Because we have a lot of talking to do. We have to establish who all these people are and what they're doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
We have to establish.
Right. So Beleg can come back from his visit to the Havens and give his report on Cirdan. We're obviously not going to hear his whole report because that would be redundant. But we can at least show Beleg returning to Thingol and reporting. So we can see that the command structure is in place. And
well, although that I was actually thinking that he would run into the orcs on the way back.
Well, I think we like you said, we need a little bit more of a story here. So Melian is uneasy about the return of Morgoth, which she knows something about.
Yes.
Like, she might not know the details, but she knows something bad is up.
Right. Which it seems like that's a good reason to have sent Beleg to Cirdan in the first place.
Right. So part of Beleg's report is, nope, everything seems normal there.
Okay.
And Melian's like, no, there's something, we have to keep looking, because they're going to then send out Beleg and Mablung in different directions.
Okay.
So that Mablung will be set up to discover the dwarves in the next episode, because he's already out on a scouting mission. So we're going to see both of them set out again.
Okay.
But we also need to see the Melian-Thingol dynamic there, where Melian says something kind of cryptic and Thingol gives the orders.
Okay. Okay. That would actually take us into Act 3. In Act 3, oh my gosh, we are definitely going to run out of things.
Okay, here's the thing. Cirdan would be the elf in Beleriand most likely to have heard some news from the sea, from Ulmo, indirectly.
Right.
So maybe Beleg have nothing to report back. Maybe what he reports back is something we didn't hear Cirdan say, but Beleg says, well, Cirdan says that blah, 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 that there's unrest and da, 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 but I don't know what he's going to say. But Cirdan could back up Melian's idea that something's wrong. And that would show that there's a growing sense of impending doom.
Well, the storm of Uinen could have had repercussions as far as the havens.
Only if there were like tsunamis involved. Like if she caused an earthquake, it could make a tsunami on another coast really far away.
Right.
But otherwise, it's across an entire ocean, and not at the skinny part. Like
that's true. But well, if I went to, so I grew up on Long Island, and if I went to the beach during a time where there was a hurricane in the Caribbean,
right,
the waves would be higher. Like you could noticeably tell. And I'm not a seaman. Like I'm not that familiar.
Yeah. No, I know what you're saying. You can tell when waves are choppier because the wind's at 12 knots. They have little white caps and stuff.
Right.
But yes, and a hurricane obviously has far-reaching effects. I'm not saying otherwise. It's just I don't think that Uinen was throwing up a hurricane necessarily. I mean, it only depends whether or not you're going to do a spiral with an eye in the center. Like that's all that matters for that. And it could look like a spiral. I mean, she could. Yeah.
Oh,
okay.
We haven't actually. Huh. You know what we forgot to do?
What did we forget to do?
Storm. We showed the reaction to the storm, but not.
Oh, right. We were supposed to come back.
So that's gonna be the first thing that happens in Act 2.
Sorry.
There we go. No, that's not your fault.
No, I mean I remember when we said it. Like, okay, I have to remember to come back to it.
Okay. Storm of Uinen. There we go. Perfect.
Okay.
All right.
And yes, so big storm, lots of ships sunk.
Yes.
Okay, so when we show Cirdan standing on the shore, it could be not a perfectly calm day. Yeah. Like you said, the waves could be a little choppier and the sky could be a little overcast. It's not so blatantly, like there's not a storm on the horizon because her storm doesn't come across the ocean.
Right.
But it's at least, a hint of everything is not right in the world, which is what we're going for, like vague portents of doom. So whatever Beleg reports back is that Cirdan is also worried.
Yes.
And so Cirdan's worried, Melian's worried. Nobody really knows what's going on, though. Does that work?
Yeah, okay. That works perfectly.
All
right. So Beleg returns to Thingol now in Act 3.
Oh, good. We bumped that into Act 3?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yes.
It's like we're planning this or something.
Right. That actually makes perfect sense because that is totally the beginning of an act. It definitely didn't feel like the ending of one.
No.
Okay. So Beleg returns to Thingol, gives his report. We should have, what we should do is have a scene between Luthien and Dairon.
Yes, because the assumption is going to be that they're brother and sister.
Yeah, so we have to avoid that.
Right. And it's okay if that's the first impression that people get, as long as before the end of the episode we've established that that is not, in fact, what is going on here. So the easiest way to do that is for Dairon's parents to get mentioned.
Yes.
because obviously, if they're not the same as Luthien's parents, these two aren't brother and sister.
Right.
Um,
But they are very close.
They are very close. So they're. But yeah, I don't really want there to be any hints yet that Dairon's really in love with her. Like, that shouldn't have become clear yet. They just spend a lot of time together.
Right.
So it all looks super innocent right now, which is why the brother-sister impression could have been the first impression.
Yeah.
Like, I want that to have been a possible way of reading the scene until we find out that they're not related.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Let's take a break. We'll come back in a little bit if you're watching this live. If you're watching this on YouTube in the future, definitely like and share the videos. If you like and want to share them. If you haven't yet, feel free to subscribe. Check out the links below. All kinds of information on what we're doing and what this is all about, if you're curious. Yeah, we'll be back in a minute.